What up, world? Welcome to another episode of Blunt Talk Quick Takes. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and sunny confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Quick Takes here exclusively out on Podbean. However, if you're looking to catch more content from the show, you can check the show out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Patreon, and as well as on Trovo. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful June 1st, 2025. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday, nice Sunday edition of Blunt Talk Quick Takes. We're obviously going to be reviewing that thrilling Game 6 last night in Indiana with the Pacers closing out the series and punching their ticket to the NBA Finals, winning 125-108. We're going to recap that game. We're also going to recap some pertinent news relating to a few guys that might be on the Knicks into the 2025-2026 season. Some things they might need to address, what I think the Timberwolves will need to address going into this offseason. And also, Paul George's comments on defense. Were they out of bounds or was PG making a point? I'll definitely touch on it and give you my opinion on that. But before we do, I want to make sure we always give a shout out to our friends of the show. And right now, before we do that, first one will be StubHub. Obviously, you guys know that it's springtime, summer's going to be approaching soon. Definitely a time to get out and get the most of your season and most of your off time. We have in the description box of this video, there will be a link to Beyonce tickets, a link to Benson Boone, and also to Kendrick Lamar and SZA's tour that they currently have going on, which I hear is blazing all around the country right now. Also, for my UK subscribers for Viagogo, there's a lot of things impacting in store for you guys. We got Coldplay currently touring, Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga, and also there's a few festivals that are also going to be coming up. One is the Icarus Festival starting June 6th through the 9th at the former military airfield in Memmingerberg, Germany. There will be a creative ID link there. Also, some other festivals coming up as well, like the Isle of Summer Festival 2025. That'll be taking place on June 28th and also on August 2nd. There'll be various venues in Munich and in Bavaria, Germany. So definitely make sure if you guys out there in the UK or Europe, definitely taking full advantage of that. Like I said, leading number one and two sellers of tickets to live event shows and concerts, that'd be StubHub and Viagogo. And for my avid gamers out there, big, huge PlayStation fans, I have great news for you. Currently, right now, Sony PlayStation has their Days of Play 2025. It actually started on May 25th, and it ends on June 25th, and it being June 1st. It means you got a little bit of time left to really take advantage of this package. Creative ID link will also be in the description box of this video. Sony PlayStation, more than a game. All right, guys, so we're hopping right into this episode. We're going to, like I said, recap Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals with the Indianapolis Pacers winning 4-2, winning 4-2 in the series, and winning 125-108, eliminating the New York Knicks. It was actually a great game. You could see early on that the bench players, the reserve guys, the role players were going to take a huge role tonight. Last night in that game, and everybody stepped up. I mean, it was amazing to see. You can see from the first half, beginning of the game, essentially the onset, the Pacers were showing a terrific team effort to win the game. The reserves and the big men from Indy were making an impact. Miles Turner was definitely making his presence felt early on in the game. And it was kind of weird because when you were watching it, you kind of thought Halliburton was going to get it going early, and he didn't. He actually started out cold, so it was it had you a little worried if you were rooting for the Pacers. However, like I said, Miles Turner, he actually ended the game here. Let me see. Miles Turner actually ended the game with 11 points. Now, he did have 5 fouls, so he was definitely very active and very aggressive on defense. But 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 2 of 3 from three-point range, which was excellent, and 4 of 6 from the field. So he was definitely involved yesterday in the game plan. But the Knicks, the story of the first half, and I think of the game period, was the Knicks' three-point shooting. I mean, fucking putrid. I mean, listen. You guys have been hearing me detail throughout the whole postseason how some of these teams, Boston's or whomever, sometimes even Golden State without Steph, you can use them in this same example. The volume of threes that you're taking is not proportionate to the players that you have on the floor. And a lot of times what you see is these teams take a huge volume of threes. And I understand the magnitude. It's a game 6. It's an elimination game. You're fighting for your life. You're fighting for a game 7 to try to win. And, I get it. However, the thing that is remarkably shocking is that when you are shooting badly from three early on, you don't compound that by shooting more threes. And for you to shoot 28% from three-point range, 9 of 32 in an elimination game, that can't happen. That can't happen. And to give you an idea, your best shooters from three-point range last night was Landry Shamet, 4 of 7, and then preceding him with a tie would be Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby, both going 2 of 7 from three-point range. Fucking horrible. Fucking horrible. I mean, like, DeLon Wright's missing threes. Josh Hart was fucking non-existent. I mean, Josh Hart, 4 points, 6 rebounds. I mean, like, he gave commentary after the game talking about how, you know, once he got out of rhythm, it kind of shot his confidence. I mean, man, listen. You putting out efforts like that, don't show up. Don't show up. I mean, 1 of 6 from the fucking field, just don't show up. You are costing your team mightily. I get it. You didn't necessarily want to have to take a backup role. You felt like you were one of the starters, which you aren't. You are a backup player, you know, a good player, but a backup role player. It's just crazy. I mean, that was a very shitty performance the way they shot the ball from three last night. And then the turnovers. My God. Again, in comparison, because you know I always like to do this, guys. Looking at the turnovers, New York Knicks had 17 turnovers last night. In comparison, Indiana's 12. So again, when I sit here and I'm thinking like, okay, it's an elimination game. We're going into this knowing that if we turn the ball over and give this team opportunities, they're going to kill us. And your biggest culprits, Brunson, Bridges, I mean, the ball's in your hands. You can't just, I mean, it was just inexplicable. It was inexplicable. The Knicks deserved to lose this game. They deserved to lose this game. They played like shit. And lo and behold, you still didn't at that point in the first half have Tyrese involved. So you were shooting badly and you were losing the game, and their main player hadn't even got warm yet. He was cold so far from the start of the game. And then Karl Anthony Towns. Now, this brother redeemed himself with a decent, performance. Early on, 1 of 6, 0 of 2 from three-point range. That can't happen. That cannot happen. He has had too many games like that in the playoffs. It cannot happen. Do I need to remind you of the Western Conference Finals last year against Dallas? Or any season prior to that? I mean, it's disgusting. He ended the game with 22 points, 14 rebounds, 0 of 4 from 3, so didn't do any more justice there. So he took 2 more threes after that. 8 of 19 from the field, 42%, which is okay. And then 6 of 10 from the free throw line. Not great. Not great. I'll touch on what I think needs to happen with him in the offseason, but as you go further, as continuing up the first half, Siakam continued to show up and play well. He was definitely instrumental to helping Indiana build a lead early on. You saw Benedict Mathurin was also getting involved. Now, Siakam ended the game with 31 points. Now, he was obviously the leading scorer for the team, but he had 31 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He also was 3 of 5 from three-point range, which I thought was huge for him. Now, also, the key for Pascal Siakam, which has been an issue for him all postseason, has been his free throw shooting. He definitely shot the ball a lot better. Wasn't great. I mean, he was 8 of 11. Definitely would like to be a little bit more efficient, but however, 72%. Better than the 61 or 63% he's been shooting typically in the postseason. So, got to give him credit there. Like I said, 3 of 5 from three-point range, and he was 10 of 18 from the field. So very, very much the offense for the Indiana Pacers last night, and was a key contributor and a key reason to why they won. Benedict Mathurin, now he only had 4 points. However, 1 or 2 from the field. He was making an impact, getting to the free throw line, playing defense. Definitely playing well early on that first half. And Anunoby, though, OG Anunoby for the Knicks. I would definitely want to make sure in the first half I give him his credit, because he was literally the offense for the Knicks. Now, he ended the game with 24 points. Again, 2 of 7 from 3, which was putrid, but 10 of 18 from the field. So he didn't have a bad game. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks. He played well. He really did play well. But Nembhard and Nesmith, their defense on Jalen Brunson was amazing. I mean, forcing him into bad turnovers, forcing him into bad possessions, taking shots he didn't really want to take. their defensive play throughout this postseason has been one of the key reasons why this Indiana team is in the NBA Finals. So I definitely want to make sure I give them a shout out for what they did in the first half. And then in the second half, things just compounded even further. I mean, if you go and look, Brunson and Cat, they were trying to really will the team to victory, but it was just a little too late. And then their bench, my God, their bench. Let me just tell you what the bench for the Knicks gave them. You got here 2, 6, 8, 20. Yeah, 20 points off the bench. Not great. Not great. Not when you're playing a team with that much pace and can shoot like that. Not great. So bench was definitely horrible. Did not give them. 12 points came from Landry Shaman alone. So that just gives you an idea how bad. And then that was mostly threes. So keep that in mind. That just shows you how bad the bench was for the Knicks last night. Also, mikalbridges, like I said, he had a lot of turnovers, but he did have 15 points. 6 of 9 from the field, 1 or 2 from 3-point range, hit his free throws as usual. So, he played his part as best as possible. But Obi Toppin and the Pacers, you could see that they were starting to get hot, and then Halliburton started getting involved, and he started getting warm. Lead was going. At that point, they started to build a 15-point lead. Obi Toppin, though, let me make sure I give him his props for his performance last night. 18 points, 2 of 4 from 3, 7 of 11 from the field. And he hit both of his free throws. Like I said, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. Outstanding performance by Obi Toppin. And then, like I said, and Halliburton, like I said, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention his stats. He got hot late in the game. 21 points, 2 of 5 from 3. Because, like I said, he missed like 3 or 4 3-point shots early, but he was going for those twos. Once he realized he didn't have a 3-ball going early, he was smart, getting into the lane, getting his shots. He was 9 of 17 from the field, so outstanding game, and I believe he also had 13 assists, which he did, and 6 rebounds. So outstanding game by Tyrese Halliburton. Great team effort by the Pacers. Their bench alone gave them 38 points in comparison to the Pacers' 20. So outstanding performance by Indiana. They punched their ticket back to the finals. It's the first time they've been back in the finals since the year 2000, where they lost to the Kobe Shaq Lakers. So it's sad because they're kind of running into a team like that now. No Kobe or Shaq on this team, but I firmly believe the Thunder are going to win this series. Now, I don't think they're going to walk away with this series. I think this is the first time the Thunder are possibly going to have a legitimate test on the defensive wings. However, I do feel that the Thunder are going to ultimately win this series. Going forward, though, as far as the New York Knicks go and the concerns and what their plans need to be for 2025, 2026, I think I've made my point very clear with this. You have to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. You lack on the defensive end from the center position. You have a center who wants to be a shooting guard. He fronts like he's a big man, but he's really a shooting guard. And it's another postseason elimination game where he's playing, and it costs you mightily. Where, let's just think about this. He hits his free throws. If he even just hit his free throws like Giannis does, and I'm not saying Giannis is necessarily the greatest free throw shooter in the world, but let's just say he hits his free throw shots like Giannis does. Do you think maybe, you win some of those games? Because Giannis is going to the hole. Giannis ain't worried about shooting threes. Giannis is going to the hole, and he's playing defense. Cat does not play the position the way it's supposed to be played. I get it. He's a stretch big. I get it. He's an all-star. I get it. He did help elevate this team. Y'all know damn good and well the postseason can blind you from what the regular season showed you. This team was not together for most part of the season as far as a cohesive unit. You got ego issues. You got leadership issues. They got PJ Tucker on the fucking roster. He's not even suiting up to play. He's just trying to command the troops in the fucking locker room. And I'm not knocking PJ Tucker for that. That's why he's a champion and a veteran presence that he is. But you made a massive trade to get mikalbridges. You gave up all these first-round picks. You gave up a first-round pick to get Karl-Anthony Towns. You made all of these moves. And make no mistake, you've had progression. You went from the first round to going to Game 7, in the second round of losing a year ago to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. I think, though, there has to be a legitimate conversation that the ceiling may have been reached with this iteration of this team. Let's be real. This is Villanova Wildcats with Karl-Anthony Towns being coached by Tom Thibodeau. Let's just take a look. This was the first time I have to look at the splits to be specific with you. I'm just now noticing last night you got bench guys, Pacome Dade, you got Precious Achua, Tyler Kolek, Ariel Hakporti. You got these guys getting in less than 2 minutes in the game. You know what I mean? They getting in, getting some burn, you know. And these guys, I don't even know what the fuck these guys have even done throughout the year. Cameron Payne didn't play, coach's decision. I mean, like, who the fuck is on the bench? You're literally saying, well, we're going to win with this starting five. Once you can get, I mean, listen, Jalen Brunson is elite. He is an elite player. I give him his credit. Superstar player. You can defend him. Yeah, he's going to go downhill. He's going to get his shots. You can defend him. So the fact that you can switch, and I'm not saying everybody has the guards that Indiana has that they can switch off ball and defend them like that, but make no mistake, this Knicks team didn't really start putting it together until about an All-Star break. And even by then, I'm screaming this from the fucking rooftops to anybody who hear me. Knicks fans, please don't believe that this can get better. It won't. Karl Anthony Towns is a shooting guard posing as a center. If you get Giannis, I truly believe that elevates the Knicks into the championship conversation legitimately. That helps against the Indiana. And I know people will say, well, wait a minute, didn't Giannis just lose to Indiana? Yeah, Giannis also lost his second best player in that. Giannis's performance was there. His team didn't help him. Now, if you got these guys playing with a Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe a better bench, you got a team that's formidable and that can honestly win the Eastern Conference. As currently constructed, this is the ceiling. Three-point shooting has been abysmal. That is something that has really lacked. That's something that definitely has to be addressed throughout the season. Going into offseason, excuse me. And again, I touched on it briefly, but I said it, leadership. How the fuck do you have all these guys on this team? Guys that play hard, coachable, do what's right, and you ain't got no fucking leaders. You know, egos get into play, and I know that, and that's some cat shit. I don't care what anybody say. You hear this shit in Minnesota, you hear this shit here. It's the same thing as ego shit. And I'm not saying he's the villain. I'm just saying we got to be real with shit. It was guys having interpersonal beefs. Every team has it. There's no team that has fucking kumbayas every day. But we have to be realistic with ourselves. This team, with Tom Thibodeau, they don't use their bench like that. They usually play 8 to 9 guys hard, consistently. Do you really expect at some point these guys are not going to get injured or ran down? We've seen this script from Tom Thibodeau before. Now, somebody would say, well, why don't you fire Thibodeau? I don't believe Thibodeau's a problem. I believe the defense he's instilled, the toughness, the mindset he's instilled, it reminds me of throwback Knicks basketball. They look very reminiscent of a defensive, physical Knicks team. However, too many times Brunson is I mean, I don't know if y'all really noticed or not. Think about all the games that they lost to Indiana in this series. Jalen Brunson had some culpability in the loss. Karl Anthony Towns had some culpability in the loss. And I'm not saying that none of the other guys didn't, but I mean, really keying on this. Jalen Brunson, first game, fingers hit the ball goes out of bounds. Out of bounds on him, Pacers get possession, ultimately win the game. Next game, he fucking holds Aaron Nemhard for no fucking reason. But I mean, like, and then last night, he turns the ball over so much where it's like, I mean, what? I mean, what the fuck? Like, you had too many, and Josh Hart, I mean, I touched on that, him disappearing, it's too much. You have to, if you really are serious, try to get Giannis, try to address that three-point shooting, and figure out what you need to do as far as leadership in that bench, because they do have problems. They had a hell of a year. They had a hell of a run. Most Knicks fans are going to be very happy with this because, again, it was the Eastern Conference Finals berth, something they haven't done in 25 years. However, if you really want to set the standard and really elevate and win a championship, they have to make some real fundamental changes for this team to even be really considered to be legitimately back in position like they were this year. And as far as the Minnesota Timberwolves, you know, when you got Ant-Man pretty much saying like, hey, look, I played the right way. I'm doing exactly what the coaches told me. I'm wondering how long is Chris Finch going to be there in Minnesota. I would ultimately say you need to get rid of that bench. Ant-Man needs a number 2, legitimately. Rudy Gobert ain't it. Mike Conley, love him, old as hell. Got to give it up at some point. Julius Randle, too inconsistent. And I like Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle plays fucking hard. He plays a very physical style of basketball. He's too inconsistent. He disappears way too much. Way too much. And then for his confidence to have been rattled the way it was in that game, I mean, they played right into the Oklahoma City Thunder's hands. And I will say this because I paid attention very keenly to this. The Thunder, as good as they've been, and I don't discredit them in any way, they did get away with something that was kind of a rare feat this postseason. They played 2 very immature basketball teams in the beginning and at the end, and the only real competition, and if you really think about it, the only real competition the Thunder had in the whole postseason was the Nuggets, right? Veteran team, championship experience, playoff pedigree, been there before. They played the Grizzlies in the first round. Need I say more? Then they played the Timberwolves in the conference finals. So, no knock on the Thunder, but it just shows you the depth of how bad the coaching is. And it also shows you where the immaturity lies. And make no mistake, I did pick the Minnesota Timberwolves as a dark horse candidate because I thought Ant-Man might take the game into his hands and elevate. But the coaching scheme was very simple for Mike Dagnall and the Thunder. Make Ant-Man trust his teammates, and we're going to take them away, and he ain't going to put that many shots up. So it just, a lot of changes got to happen in Minnesota and New York for either one of these teams to even get back into position. Because make no mistake, for Minnesota, that was the second time you've been in the Western Conference Finals and haven't sealed the deal. So a lot of questions got to be answered there. But before we wrap this episode up, I wanted to touch on some of the most hilarious shit that I ever think I've ever heard in my life by a superstar or a star player in the NBA. Most of you guys, I'm pretty sure, if you're not just watching my podcast, I'm pretty sure you're watching Paul George's Podcast P, as he is known now. I don't watch his show as much. It's time to time I catch certain episodes, certain things. A lot of times I'm kind of plugging into my show, but I always make sure I try to listen in on other guys, shows and takes and opinions and just, go from there. Found this article via Yahoo, which made me watch the video. Paul George's comments, and I'll have the link in the description of the description box of this video so you can see it. Paul George stated that he claims the days of lockdown defenders in the NBA are over. Quoting Paul George, "So our league, the days of stoppers, those are pretty much gone. The TAs, meaning Tony Allen types, even myself," hold you there, I'll get to that. Even myself, I call myself a defender. There's guys that I can't do anything with. I just have to hope that I'm there enough for this to be a tough shot for him. He might make the shot, but I did all I could to make it a tough possession for him. You just got to tip your hat. That is the weakest shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm not, and I even, because I wasn't an NBA player. I'm not an NBA player. I wanted to make sure I before I gave this take that I wasn't losing my damn mind. I was sitting there and I didn't even know Draymond Green had responded to this, but I'm thinking in my head, is he watching the Eastern Conference playoffs right now? Does he see the guard play that's being displayed with Indiana and how they play defense? Did he see what Houston and Asura Thompson was doing and what Amen Thompson was doing in Detroit? Did he see any of that? Well, thank God Draymond Green, on his podcast, responded, and it was via the Basketball Network. He said, and quote here from the article, "Draymond rejects Paul George's notion that there are no lockdown defenders in the NBA today. Quote, has he seen Amen Thompson play?" Just said that. Quote from Draymond Green, "I disagree. I completely disagree. Has he seen Amen Thompson play basketball? I completely disagree. Has he seen Aaron Nesmith? You seen him? I completely disagree. I think when I look at the Thompson twins, those guys alone just kills that narrative." And Dre said this on his podcast, referring to Detroit Pistons forward and Houston Rockets forwards, the twin brothers, Asura and Amen Thompson, respectively. I just, I need y'all to really hear me. I try to lay off Paul George. I try to. Paul George has dealt with a lot, bad injuries, inconsistency in front offices, bad play. There's been various things. But when we were just talking pertaining to Paul George himself, when you say things like, quote, I call myself a defender, you haven't played any defense since Indiana. And let's not bullshit ourselves. You have not played any fucking defense since you left the Pacers. You are not considered a top tier defender. You may have been at one point in your career. That is not even the case. You don't even play enough to play defense. So I don't even know how the fuck he came to that conclusion. Second of all, why don't you, and a shout out to Rashad McCants for saying this on Gil's Arena, why don't you just admit at this point it's you? You don't feel like playing defense. Because that's not the way motherfuckers play defense at all. I have seen great defense played throughout this postseason. Aaron Nesmith and Nembhard, they deserve a fucking shitload of credit for the defense that they've played from the guard position. It just creates another narrative, another thing to talk about for Podcast P, Paul George. I'm going to tell you this, though. All that being said, he know, just like Gillian Wallow told his ass on his podcast, the pressure's on, bro. You got to show the fuck up. You got to be healthy. And I heard him say how he took certain things to heart. And, he honing in on shit. He ain't long for Philly, y'all. I told y'all this was a bad fucking move when they grabbed him. So, be that as it may, that's going to do it for this episode. I love you guys as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.